Welcome to Lair the Alchemist, where we discuss all things heavy metal and hard rock. On today's episode, my 10 favorite Megadeth songs. Megadeth, of course, being one of the big ones in the big four of thrash, and they're often sort of mentioned in the same breath or compared or compete with Megadeth, and I think that's because Dave Mustaine originally was with Metallica. Dave gets unceremoniously sacked from the band, and then he creates Megadeth, and he just comes out with a vengeance and a venom. And as I was compiling this list and listening to a bunch of the different Megadeth stuff, it really struck me how great all the bands were across all the albums. The riffing is just absolutely killer. Every one of these songs, so I'm going to try not to say that too often, the riffs are killer because they're all killer in all these songs, and how there's almost like a technical, progressive like flair to a lot of the riffing, and even right from the beginning, you know, it's just he seemed to kind of create his own sort of Megadeth style of riffing that you hear throughout all these albums and all these songs. So it was a fun list coming up with. All right, starting at number 10 for me, and I couldn't find my CD copy of this, is from the United Abominations, the song Sleepwalker. I love the aggression of it. I like Dave's lyrics and vocal delivery in this one. I love when Dave gets sort of that venomous sneer, you know, sound to his voice, and these lyrics just seem to work so well with that. The opening line, "I should be calling collect from jail for the things I commit each night in my head." That's just a great line. And the other line towards the end of the song when he says, I think it's "wrap you up in a rug and send you down the river like a punk." The way he says punk is just great. So fantastic riffing, and I love the lyrics and the whole sort of concept of the lyrics of like committing all these things, these crimes in his sleep. All right, number 9 is from Countdown to Extinction, "Skin of My Teeth," the opening track. I love the main riff in this, has kind of a new wave of British heavy metal, almost Iron Maiden-like feel to it. The production on this album is just great. The band is just so tight on this record. And it's like they sort of took the riffs that they would normally play at 100 miles an hour and just slowed them down a little bit. And it doesn't always work for me, but in this particular song, it does work. It's got a cool sort of driving groove to it. I love the mix on this record. I think it's fantastic. And Dave Ellefson's playing is great. You can really hear his bass through a lot of this, and he does a lot of interesting little bass things. So "Skin of My Teeth" is number 9. Number 8 for me is from So Far, So Good, So What, "Set the World Afire." That opening riff is so cool. Ba 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 ba, dun dun. The way the whole song starts, and just the tight riffing in it. You know, that precision, like when he's playing like those single note runs, and he's just moving all over the neck like that. It's just so cool. It's awesome. And I've seen videos where that was like their show opener, and it's just like a perfect show opener. So number 8 is "Set the World Afire." And number 7, we're back to Countdown to Extinction and Architecture of Destruction. This is another one where the riffing is held back a little. I wish it was a little bit faster because you could really hear him playing these songs like they would have in the early days. But it's cool the way the riffs move, especially like right in the chorus. That riff, like right before the chorus, he's like descending like guitar lines. And Dave's bass, what I really like about Dave's bass playing is the way he can sometimes play like a counter line, like the riff, he's moving up on the bass and the riff is moving down, so he sort of provides this like counterpoint within the songs, and I think it shows off on the 2 that I selected here, especially this one from Countdown to Extinction, "Architecture of Destruction." Okay, number 6 is from probably my favorite Megadeth album. I will say my favorite Megadeth album, "Rust in Peace." This is just musicianship at just another level, and the song I have here is "Take No Prisoners." Wow, it's so tight, and it's amazing to think, because this is done before the era of Pro Tools and cutting and pasting. This band, like the way these tight starts and stops, it's just incredible. The bass sounds great on it. this like rhythm. It's almost like funky, and it's really tight and sort of, you know, muted. You can hear all the tiny little spaces in it, which makes it just so airtight across the whole thing. I just love the whole feel of it. I love the background vocals in it, the way, you know, terminate them. it's just awesome, man. I love it. Take No Prisoners from Rust in Peace is my number 6. Number 5 is the title track from the first album, Killing Is My Business. And business is good. It's cool the way the chorus of the song doesn't come in till the end of the song, which I think is really neat. The main riff in the song, the way the line is like up high, it just shows like right out of the gate, it was like Dave was writing these riffs that were very like sort of non-traditional, like quirky, riffs that sort of take weird turns, finger twisting kind of runs. You know, you almost never hear Megadeth. You really don't hear Megadeth play like just sort of stock, blocky power chord type riffs. It's like he takes sort of simple concepts, but he twists them around and makes them all demented and weird. And this is a great example of this. And like the speed changes where they all of a sudden get really fast. This isn't my favorite Megadeth out of the early Megadeth albums, because I think the mix is a little bit kind of lo-fi, and it does work in some things, but some other songs, they haven't quite achieved that level of tightness that they would get pretty much from every album after this one. But Killing Is My Business, definitely my favorite song from this album. All right, we are to number 4, and that is from the Peace Sells But Who's Buying album, Devil's Island. Love the feel of this one. Love the chorus. The chorus is really catchy. That's another thing about a lot of the Megadeth stuff. There's great choruses in the songs. There's great hooks. Not only are there like a million riffs, but all the riffs are really catchy. They all seem to make sense the way they flow right into one another. And this one in particular, I just love the chorus of it. So Devil's Island at number 4. Number 3, back to So Far, So Good, So What for In My Darkest Hour. Written, Dave says, after he heard the news of the tragic passing of Metallica bassist Cliff Burton. This is the only really slow song on the list. Not something Megadeth does a whole lot of, at least in the early days here. But this one is awesome. I love the acoustic guitars in it. There's like this descending little guitar line in the beginning that really makes me think of For Whom the Bell Tolls, and I wonder if he did that on purpose as sort of, you know, a tribute. But I love the mood of it. I love the melody line. I love the changes in it, the acoustic guitar part, the intensity of the whole song. It's just a really epic song. So number 3 for me is In My Darkest Hour. Number 2, from Back to Peace Sells, Wake Up Dead. Oh man, just the riffing in this one, and Chris Poland's guitar playing is it is so cool. When he comes in, like in one part of the song, he's doing like this tapping, legato like tapping run, and it is just so awesome. It's almost like jazz thrash or something, some of these lead lines. And my favorite part, I love the lyrics in it and the topic, like he's coming home late at night, trying to sneak into bed. He doesn't want to wake his wife or he'll wake up dead. But the part in the song where it drops down into that halftime part, wake up dead, that riff is just so killer. And after that fast stuff, when it drops down like that, you can just see the pit get going, man. Just an awesome, awesome song. Fantastic playing. All right, number 1 for me is one of my favorite metal songs of all time, Back to Rust in Peace, and his song Holy War's Punishment Due. This song shows up on a lot of my lists. I say it's a song when I have other musicians who don't know, guitar players who don't know anything about metal, and I make like a mixtape or a playlist for them. I always put this on here because to me, it shows off the aggression of heavy metal, but the technical part of it too, just the incredible musicianship on this song. So tight, so many interchanges, that sort of classical guitar thing in the middle of it, all the different section changes, yet it's so catchy and so memorable. It's so well produced. To me, it's just a great example of the power and musicianship that can come through in heavy metal. When people just write heavy metal off as like this sort of, it's not serious music or something. I always think of this song and play this song for people and say, all right, you don't think metal is serious? Check this out. So it's just an absolutely fantastic song. The main riff in the song is one of my favorite like metal riffs of all time. So incredible album. My number one Megadeth song, Holy Wars. Okay, there you go. There's my 10 favorite Megadeth songs. Let me know in the comments down below, what are your 10 favorite Megadeth songs? And until we see you again, make sure you stay heavy, stay metal.